What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hamid's Tech and today is my review of the OPPO A98 5G. This phone I actually used for the past 2 weeks and there are a lot of things that I want to share with you guys. Some of the good, some of the bad that comes with this phone. Because yes, at this price range over here, we are looking at a very affordable phone. They have to cut some corners to make this at a very affordable price, but they do still give you a lot of cool, good features that comes with this phone, which we are going to talk about in today's video. And of course, I do hope by the end of this video, you guys will be able to make your purchase decision. So yes, without much further talking, let us just get right into it. Okay, so first thing I want to talk about here is the holding experience, and what I mean about this is the fact that how it feels in your hand, how the buttons are laid out, and whether it's easy to reach and whatsoever. First of all, how it feels is that it feels good. I mean, it does give a good weight to it, so it doesn't feel very cheap or it doesn't feel too heavy in your hands. You can just pop it into your pants or whatsoever. It doesn't feel too big or too massive or whatsoever. That's not what she said. But yes, it does feel really, really nice. It does have, yes, it's made out of plastic, but it doesn't feel cheap in that sense. It feels really, really nice. I do like the colors, the button layouts. Feels very, very comfortable to hold. I like the power button over here, which does act as your fingerprint. So it's very easy to reach, and this is where most of my time, my finger is anyway. So if I want to unlock my phone, as you can see here, I don't have to stretch or anything. And when it comes to the volume rockers over here, it is a little bit higher for my liking, but then again, sometimes if it's at the level, most of the time you'll be accidentally touching it anyway, so I think it's a little bit nicer to have it on the top here. So yes, you can have your clickish buttons over here, which works really, really nice. Very nice textile function. And yes, on the bottom here, I do like the fact that they still give you a wired head jack, so you can use your audio headset with this. No much problem whatsoever. So all in all, it's a really nice phone, very massive, and of course, very nice to hold. And that brings me to my next section here, which I want to talk about, and that is of course the viewing experience. So that covers the display, the speakers, and the haptics on this phone. And what I can say is that OPPO has done a really good job in this department. Here we are given a massive 6.72-inch display over here. It is of course using an LCD panel, which isn't too bad for my liking. It does come with your good perks like your 120 Hz, good brightness. I would say here in sunny Malaysia, it still gets the job done, but it isn't the brightest screen in that department. Yes, people might be complaining that you can get an AMOLED panel at this price point, but the LCD panel on this really isn't too bad. You're going to get very nice rich colors here, very contrasty, very vibrant as well, so you don't have to worry about it. As you can see here, it looks really, really nice. Colors are pretty accurate, and I do love the fact that this phone here does give you a stereo speaker setup. So as we can see here, we have the top front speaker and down front speaker. And when you're holding your phone like this, one thing I like about this phone, again going back to the display, is the bezels on the sides. Because when you're holding your phone and just watching your shows, you're gonna go get some accidental touches, but here with the bezels, it kind of prevents that from happening, which I absolutely do like. So that is one thing I do appreciate on this phone. And talking about the haptics here, it isn't like super premium or really nice, but it does get the job done. But most of the time anyway, I would turn it off because sometimes it may be a little bit distracting. But overall, the viewing experience on this is pretty decent. Okay, so now here is where they have sort of cut some corners when it comes to the internal specs. So here, first thing you'll notice is the chipset. Most of the time when you buy a phone, especially when you're a tech reviewer like me, you want to know what chipset is being used. Yes, you do have a nice Snapdragon processor, you do have your 5G support, which is of course really, really nice, but it is the 695 chipset. I did wish they could given us maybe a 750 or a 765 or at least a 778, but that of course would change the price on this phone. But yes, you still won't get a very, very good and capable processor. The 695 over here, I've used many phones with this chipset, and again, like with the OPPO A98 5G, I haven't had a lot of problems with it. Scrolling through your apps, going in between, switching in a little bit more of your apps, and just like going through your quick settings menu, opening up few things over here, you're not going to notice a lot of lags or stutters with this phone. I didn't really notice a lot of crashes when I was playing Pokemon Go, Candy Crush, and all this other stuff with this phone. But of course, if you guys are into a lot of hardcore gaming, like your PUBG, your Pokemon battles and whatsoever, this phone might not be the one for you, because it would of course show its kind of status and all that with it. But for normal multitasking, like if you're going to go between 2-3 apps, maybe Chrome, go through your YouTube, it is of course more than capable to do that. And of course, if you want to talk about the storage on this, you have 256 gigs of storage, no micro SD expansion, which is a little bit of a bummer. It does come with the UFS 2.2 if I'm not wrong, so it isn't the top of the line UFS 4, which will give you faster storage speeds, but it still gets the job done. I mean, in 2023, I think this speed is decent enough for most people anyway. And if you want to talk about the RAM here, 8 gigs of RAM is really nice. Of course, you don't have to push it to 12 gigs of RAM, but you can do it with the RAM expansion feature, which is something I really do like. And of course, one more thing about the internal specs I want to talk about is of course definitely the battery here, which they have made a really good step here. So here, massive 5000 milliamps of battery, which is really nice. Going to give you a full day of usage over here. Never really needed to charge this phone more than once in a day, because first of all, it's not very power hungry in terms of the processor, so you don't really need to, I mean, you can't really push it all the way too much anyway. And of course, if you want to pump this up, you can use the 67 watts, which of course charges up really fast on this phone. Yes, it's not the 100 watts or the 120 or 150 that we have seen on many other OPPO phones, but 67 watts is still very fast. So yes, every time I want to just pump this phone up, I can actually don't have to worry about it. I can just leave it at about 10%, pump this baby up, and of course I'm going to get nice 80 to 90%. So you don't have to worry about it. Full day of power in just about 20 minutes, which is a fair trade, I would say. And of course, even talk about the software side of things. Here, we do have right off the box Color OS 13, which of course is really nice. You're going to have a lot of features here. One thing that I really did miss on this phone that I do have on other phones is of course the always on display, which I think some of you guys may be wanting to have with this phone. You're not gonna get it, but you do have other features with this. You do have the side panel here, which I do like and do use as well. And we do have other features. I do like the drop down feature, the double tap to lock and all this good stuff, which sometimes we don't get on any other phones. And overall, the software on this is really nice, very clean, but it does give you a lot of customizations as well. So again, those were some areas that OPPO had to cut to make this an affordable phone. And another major thing they had to cut is of course talking about the cameras over here. So first thing you want to know is that this phone doesn't record at 4K whatsoever, which may be a little bit disappointing for you guys who want to use a nice phone for your video recording. You can't really get it with this phone over here. And when it comes to the front camera, not much of an issue for me. It does give you nice clear shots. Of course, we're going to talk about here is the rear cameras. Yes, on paper it says it does give you a triple camera setup. The main lens over here, not much of an issue. Again, 64 megapixel AI sensor, really nice colors, come out really decent for this price range. But the other two lenses here, I find it is a little bit, I would say, useless in my sense, because I did wish that they could have given us maybe a 5 megapixel ultra wide or a decent ultra wide lens, you know, just like an entry level ultra wide lens. I think that's really nice. Yes, a bit of stuttering over here, but yes, I think ultra wide is more appreciated for most people out there. Sometimes you want to get a clear wider shot. I think that ultra wide lens would be more useful compared to the depth camera or do the micro lens at the end of the day. So that is again one more corner they had to cut to make it this phone at an affordable price, which I think maybe in the future models they could add it back in the OPPO maybe A98 or A99 or whatever they're going to call it. Alright, so that is it with the OPPO A98 5G review. And of course, let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any questions, or if you guys already have been using this phone and you want to share your thoughts and opinions as well. Of course, if you guys want to see more of my videos over here, do click the like and smash the subscribe button down below for more videos like this in the future. And of course, if you want to follow me on my socials, you can do so on my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and here on YouTube at Dr. Hummus Tech. So that is it. This is Dr. Hummus Tech. Stay safe, take care, and wash those hands.